Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 3 of 28 Days of Love. I hope you had a great day yesterday. Hopefully, not too much complaining and some gratitude in there. I know for me, it was definitely a big test. It seems whatever I throw out there, the universe will test me. And I guess just to give you an example of an experience I had throughout the day, was found myself in traffic, which I had mentioned. And I don't typically find myself in that situation. I'm fortunate that I don't usually have to travel during rush hour, but yesterday I did. And the roads were not great, and there was a lot of traffic, and the length of time was quite long. I had to pick my dog up from doggy daycare before coming home, and what would have been a 5-minute drive from picking him up to getting home turned into an extra 40 minutes, and at the same time crawling down the road, he's puking in the back seat. So I was definitely tested to see, okay, how are you going to respond to this? And I was able to find some gratitude in that moment for being able to reach back and move my bags out of the way so he was not puking in or on my bags. And then it continued at the grocery store with my produce rolling all over the floor. But anyway, I may have muddled something under my breath, but I did have a good chuckle, and it did not ruin my day. And today's a new day, another day to practice gratitude. So if any of you had similar experiences, I'd love to hear if you want to share through email. But anyway, let's move on to today's topic. And what I want to talk about today is that connection to self and coming back to ourselves and kind of pulling back from being so far out there, which I know we all find ourselves kind of stuck and pulled out there at times. And maybe being the weekend, that's a good time to do that. Maybe we have a little bit more time and we feel like we can take that breather. Some of you, if you have young kids, maybe you're not feeling that same way. But I wanted to share with you today just a couple of things that I like to do to help kind of step back into myself and kind of get regrounded and refocused and bring myself into a place of love, of calmness, where I can think clearly, where I can make good decisions, and I can focus on what I want in life. And so there's no right or wrong way to do this. There's lots of different things, and different things work well or differently for people, so it's what works for you. But I wanted to share a few things with you. So first of all, I'm very fortunate to have this beautiful space in my home where I can just come down here and into my little spirit cave and just escape, and there's no distractions, there's no TV. It's very calm and relaxing down here. Even my animals love to come down here. Bailey is totally out right now with his head on the meditation cushion. So having just a space where you can just kind of step away is great. So if you can find a space like that, and I know we can't always find that every moment of the day, but if you can find a space where you can kind of just step away and just even close the eyes and take a few deep breaths. And we naturally do this throughout the day. You may catch yourself just having that big sigh, right? And it's just that release of, okay, I need to step back into myself. Those of you that know me well know that I have become quite obsessed with essential oils, and I use them for anything and everything, but I especially enjoy them for really just kind of stepping back and finding that calmness. Sometimes we need the opposite. We need a little pick-me-up, and there are definitely oils for that. But 3 of the oils that I really like to use for just kind of some relaxation is lavender, for sure, very relaxing. So I have these in roll-ons, which are phenomenal. They're pre-mixed, or they're mixed with fractionated coconut oil, and they're super handy. Sometimes I'll even throw them in my bag, and you can just roll them on wherever. So lavender is a great one I like to use. I actually have a cup of warm water and honey with 1 drop of lavender before bed every night, and it's just so relaxing. I have another blend called Peace, which is also very nice. But my absolute favorite is a blend called Past Tense. And I will put this information on these in the email in case you're interested. But for me, just even that simple rolling on some oils or putting some onto my fingertips and just coming onto the neck and the temples, and just the smell is very relaxing and calming. So that is something for me that just is like that breath of fresh air, and it just really just kind of melts me into that really nice space. So I use those quite regularly. Sometimes when I come down here, I will just put on some nice, soft, really relaxing music. Sometimes it's just nice to be in silence, or even diffusing the air with oils. But that's kind of the first step. And then the second thing that I really like to do, and I don't just do this down here, I try to do this a lot, and some of you have seen me do this, and I definitely teach this in some of my other workshops. But for me, the strongest and easiest way to connect to yourself is the simple act of bringing your hand onto your heart. And that just connection here is, the energy that comes from our heart is so powerful. And as we move deeper into our 28 days, I'll talk a little bit more about heart energy, talk about viewing life from a place of love versus a place of fear. We'll talk about that. But for me, this is coming to home. This is truth. This is trust. This is grounding, and just that simple act of bringing hand onto heart. And I even I do this myself, and I suggest to people that anytime you find yourself in a situation that feels uncomfortable, whether you're having to have a difficult conversation with somebody, or you're finding yourself just in a situation that's very uncomfortable, the simple act of bringing your hand onto your heart just brings this comfort and almost like a sense of support into the body. And it feels so different than just not having your hands there. What typically we tend to do, maybe you've realized this, maybe not, but when we get into those situations that are uncomfortable, we tend to bring the hands more up here, even sometimes to the head, just thinking, oh my gosh, what is going on, right? And when we do this, we're giving power to the ego, to the fear-based mind. And that's not a place where we make the best decisions or where we find calmness. So the simple act of just coming to here, instead of being up here, again, just brings calmness. It just helps us to be in a better place. And maybe just, in addition to bringing the hands here, taking, a few deep breaths, closing the eyes. And then it's like, okay, I can do this, right? And there's a little bit more comfort, more confidence there. So that's something I like to do, and I encourage you to try that. Even just that simple act, bring the hand onto the heart. And the other thing, of course, that I want to suggest is what I want to do with all of these videos is, as much as possible, try to also give you some suggestions on different books that I've read that really resonated with me or helped me to find those deeper connections or have a deeper understanding or a better understanding of some of the stuff that we're talking about. And one of the books that really helped me to connect deeper to my own body, the whole body, physical body, emotional body, everything, energy body, is a book called Mind Body Balancing by Osho. And I've read this a few times, and I love this book. And it actually comes with a CD in the back of meditations that you can listen to. But this book really helps you to look at your body differently, because we really don't understand our own bodies. We're fortunate that we have these bodies that do so much for us without us even realizing or paying attention. Even just the simple act of breathing. Just think about that for a moment. When you sleep at night, you're not breathing. Your body's breathing for you. You don't have to think about, oh yeah, I have to inhale, I have to exhale, right? The body does that for you. And there's so many other different ways in which the body responds and reacts that we aren't even aware of. But when we can start to connect a little bit deeper and understand that, we can notice and we can, shift and keep ourselves in that best place possible, and just even have that deeper understanding. So one of the things that I found fascinating, and I believe it was in this book where I read it, I want to do a little exercise or experiment with you to help you to see how you don't necessarily have the control over the body that we think we do, or we're not, maybe that's not the right way to say that. Our body does so much for us without us realizing it, let's put it that way. So I want you to just sit with your hands, palms facing upwards, maybe just resting the backs of your hands on your knees or your thighs. Close your eyes. And I just want you to breathe normally. I don't want you to try to change or control your breath. Just breathe. Palms are facing upwards. And just notice how your body moves as you inhale. Notice how it moves when you exhale. Notice what parts of the body are moving, what direction they're moving in. And just notice. And now keep your eyes closed and just turn your palms down and keep breathing. Don't change anything. Just notice. Notice how the body moves, which way it moves, which parts move. All right, open your eyes. Maybe you noticed a difference. Maybe that's something that you're going to have to play with a little bit more today. I'm not going to go into it anymore. I just want you to maybe do that a few more times throughout the day. Palms up, breathing. Notice how the body moves. Palms down, breathing, and see if you notice a difference. And then tomorrow I'll just touch on that a little bit more. Very interesting for me anyway. I hope you find it interesting. So one of the other things that I like to do to kind of come back and connect to myself is through meditation as well. And I don't want to spend a whole lot of time talking about meditation today. I will talk about it in future videos, and I will include some information in this email today to give you a little bit more. Some of you maybe already have a strong meditation practice. Some of you have maybe never done it before. But just, even taking 5 minutes to sit down, to close your eyes. And I guess I can give you one little task that's kind of a lead into meditation. But take a moment at some point today and just sit and close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths. And all I want you to ask yourself in your mind is, what am I going to think about next? And then see what comes into your mind. And then again, ask yourself, what am I going to think about next? What am I going to think about next? And just keep asking yourself that in your mind just for a few moments, and just see what happens for you. There's no right, there's no wrong. This is just an experience for you to have and to see what happens. So meditation is another great way, or just to kind of decompress, come back to here. Sometimes it's easy and it feels good, sometimes it feels challenging, and that is okay. I also mentioned in, I think, the email yesterday that I would talk quickly a little bit about cards. I love to work with cards. Almost every day I try to work with cards, even just pulling one card from a deck. So I have about 10 or 15 different decks. I'm going to use 2 different decks today. And the first deck is Angel Oracle cards, Daily Guidance, and I use this deck every day. It's one of my favorites. And the beautiful thing about cards, if you've never done them, you can buy these at Chapters, at any bookstore. You can get them online. But they come with a book that kind of gives an explanation about each card. And the thing with cards is they always pick us, we don't pick them. The message that comes from the card is always something that we need to hear. The message isn't always literal, meaning it's not exactly what is written on the card. It could be in the picture, it could be figurative meaning. So for example, I remember my very first deck of cards, I shuffled them, and I picked a card, and the card was birthing, and I was like, no way in hell am I having any more kids. But then I realized, okay, it's not literally saying that I'm birthing, but it was about, birthing a new project, which I was doing at the time, so that made sense. So sometimes we need to just feel into what the card is saying a bit more, but we're all very intuitive. Sometimes we just know when we see the card what the message is. Sometimes it is in the wording, and sometimes it's in the picture. But what I like to do is just start my day by grabbing a deck and shuffling. And there's no right or wrong way to pick a card. Like I said, it always picks you. For me, I just shuffle, I place the deck down, I cut the deck, and I tend to take the top card from the bottom cut. So this is awesome. So the card that I picked is Change in Direction. And how fitting for this project, because that's really what this 28 days of love is all about. It's about getting unstuck from where we are, especially for those of us that are feeling like we're on that hamster wheel, or we're looking for something new or something better. So this is a good sign that it's time, and we're going to move into something different, and we have the power to create that, and we're going to do that. So that's great. So I will just read what the card actually says. It says, the changes you're experiencing are divinely directed by your newborn willingness to open your heart to love and our guidance. You are protected now and in the future, so follow your path to the happy outcomes you desire. It's beautiful. All right. So that is for all of us. And I'm going to pull one more, and this is becoming my new favorite deck, and this is Kyle Gray, and it's Angel Prayers. So again, I am going to shuffle, cut the deck, and this card is for all of us. So when I show you the card, when you see the picture, if something resonates with you, listen to that message. Maybe you're going to get something a little bit different from the same card. All right. So the card that I drew is Spirit Animal. And it says, thank you, Animal Kingdom, for blessing my path with love. So what that could be indicating is, just reminding us that there are signs all around us all the time, every day. Usually we're just too distracted and too busy to notice them. But pay attention to the signs. So maybe notice over the next few days if there's a particular animal that you tend to see over and over. I've gone through this several times where I went through a period where peacocks were popping up everywhere several days in a row. And my cousin, who hopefully is watching this, with her, I believe it's ladybugs. But just see if there is a specific animal that pops up, and it doesn't have to be seeing the animal. It could be an image of that animal, even on TV or whatever. And if you find a trend there, you're seeing repeat of the same animal, just do a little search and see what does it mean. What's the meaning for spirit animal of ladybug or whatever, and just see what message is there for you. All right, so I've given you a lot today. So my challenge, I guess, is to take some time for yourself today. And even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, if you have an hour, that is wonderful. But just take some time to remove yourself from some of the distractions in life. Sit down, maybe close your eyes, take a few breaths. If you like to use oils or candles or anything to help create that nice environment, some soft music. And just take some time to be alone with yourself and to step away from the busyness and just start to notice what's going on here. Notice your breath, do the exercise, hands up, hands down, breathing, and just notice. And just start to notice your body and maybe make some little notes on that. If you have some cards, you can play with those. Otherwise, I hope you do have a very wonderful day, and I will see you tomorrow with some more good stuff. Talk to you then.